there's a combination of things, but I think what I would say when you pair the actual my mantra for myself and for my family is faith, family, service. And those are
Mm.
the things that are most important to me. And faith, not only in God, but in myself. And what does God tell you who you are? You're not a failure. You may have
Mm-hmm.
failed or maybe not accomplished that thing, but you are not a failure.
There's beauty in the struggle, ugliness in the success. Hear my words and listen to my signal of distress. The good news is you came a long way. Bad news is you went the wrong way.
Guaranteed official.
That's what you want to do.
Because of what you're doing for the body.
You know, I will start by saying this, Mark.
Welcome to another Let's Dream Big CTA Podcast. I am your host, Mark Thompson, your interview expert, here with another banger, another 2-6 historian, collective, beautiful queen of Fayetteville, my friend, sister, wrestling partner. I don't know what we used to do. I don't know. I used to beat you up. You used to kick me in the chest. When I tell you we grew up together, she used to have a Jerry curl too, y'all. That's another story.
That is so proud, Mark. That's so proud.
But it is true. She is my friend, my dear friend, my sister, and love her to death. I want her to come on this show because she is April D. McNeill-Johnson, MD, pediatric doctor, has done so many different things. Her story is something that needs to be told. Her story is amazing. I am probably one of the naysayers in her chapter in the Bible. That's how beautiful what she's gone through. God is all over it, and just want to bring her on here to show y'all and introduce you. So, what's up, April? Say what's up to the people.
What's up, people? How you doing, Mark? Yes, you
I'm
are my
doing
brother.
great. Oh my gosh, my screen is just going everywhere. That's crazy. Sorry. I'm
Yeah,
gonna come back to light, y'all.
back like when Mutt was a pup, and she's been one of my best friends for as long as I can remember. So,
Mhm.
and not
Fix that.
just a naysayer in my journey, but an active supporter, and one of the reasons why I'm able to walk in my dream today.
Amen. Amen. We've been through some stuff.
Yeah.
We've been through some stuff, and I definitely, again, to see your journey today, being a doctor, being in your wedding, seeing you have your first kid. Oh my God! Like, could you imagine? This is also my daughter's goddaughter as well. That's how close we are.
Yeah.
I think the important thing is that we came from Fayetteville, North Carolina. This
Yeah.
whole episode, this series is about folks that I know from Fayetteville. So in my eyes, who have done incredible things. And I've seen her journey and her goals from making an honor roll in 5th grade to just going up the ladder and doing more and more big things. And, one of the things of her becoming a doctor, I was like, why are you trying to become a doctor? Like, when did you start? In your 30s, maybe?
Yeah, I didn't go to medical school until I was 31 years old.
Wow. Started going to 31. And I was like, I was a naysayer. Like, don't do it. Just live your life, girl. There's a lot of work to do. And she accomplished it. She did it. She just, man, when you talk about somebody who knows what their purpose is and where they're supposed to be in life and just stayed the course and did not falter, even when failure came, she pushed and pushed and pushed. I literally had tears in my eyes. Watching her just do her thing and graduate and make it to where she said she was going to be. That is intentionality. That is resilience. Today's topic for her is based on all of that. And it is, I'll read it again to everybody. Read it here. I lost it. Vision, faith, and resilience for success.
Amen.
Before we go into that, let's tell the people who April D. McNeill-Johnson, Denise, I can give you your whole name. Tell them who you are.
Well, as Mark has already said, I am April Denise McNeill-Johnson. I'm a pediatric emergency medicine physician in Kansas City, Missouri. And I am born and bred in Fayetteville, North Carolina. a graduate of D.E.E. Smith High School, where Mark and I went to school together. I also went to a HBCU, Bennett College for Women in Greensboro, North Carolina, for my undergraduate years. And as Mark kind of alluded to, I had a very curvy course to get where I am today. But I'm sitting here now, just very appreciative of the opportunities God has given me and the support system that I have to be able to sit here now, walking in my dream as a pediatric emergency medicine physician, as well as a researcher in health equity of juvenile health for those adolescents who find themselves in detention.
So where do we start? Man, where do we start? I think one of the things I would like to start with you, because watching you grow up, you had your mom and dad, but more so, I don't know if you would say single parent home, but I know your dad was very involved in your life. We all both were like, if anybody knows Murchison Road, a lot of folks don't understand Fayetteville. We're like 3-4 blocks away from one of the roughest streets in Fayetteville, but to us it was just a murder. No, why it wasn't. Like, why are you scared of the murder? Like, that's where we came from. We were just used to it. We grew up with the folks who live off Murchison Road. But the inspiration to your life, like, who would you say you learned, you gained your vision? You know, how did you actually start your path of saying, this is what I want to be? I want to be a doctor.
Yeah, so I would say that, like, as Mark alluded to, that I didn't have the traditional household where my parents were married and I had both parents living in my home. But my father was a very present father in my life. And I would say both him and my mother instilled very good, strong work ethic and just good human kindness values in me to build me as a person. Can't say that I identified that I wanted to be a physician earlier in my young life. I think it was closer to the end of high school, and that I recognized that I wanted to be able to bring value to young people in the world, and I wanted to do it through being a physician. And I would say that, you know, just that vision or that goal of wanting to make an impact in our community, especially in the community of individuals that look like us, that was kind of serving as the inspiration, but the foundation of work ethic and values given to me by my parents, I think, helped me steady the course.
That's good. That's good. That foundation is important. And I think it's been the storyline to everything that anyone who's on this podcast, especially from Fayetteville, and that's pretty much anybody I've had on the podcast, the parents have been very valuable to the foundation, and then excelling to the next levels of a foundation and finding your tribe, finding your people that help you continue to build the network of folks that grow apart. I'm happy that I'm still in your network, because you could have let me go a long time ago, right? But I think that's important, of keeping the right people and maintaining that, because you had a goal. And I think I want to tap into this because, you know, I always thought you were doing great things. I mean, you were doing researching at one point, making like $80-some thousand. Back in 2000, making $80,000. You were rich, you know? And I was like, there's a point where you're at that job and you're like, I don't want to do this. Like, what was the pivot there? Even though you had the goals and inspiration, the day you said, I'm done with this, I'm going to be a doctor. Well, what made that snap?
Well, I would actually backtrack a little bit. I would say it's a forced pivot, because I've always wanted to be a physician, but I say I didn't have the foundational educational skills needed to get into medical school and to thrive in medical school. So I was forced to go and do what I use my biology degree so that I can earn an income. But my drive was that this is not my end. And although I am earning an income, I am not providing the impact or not fulfilling the vision that I felt that God has placed in me to do. So you sometimes have to do what's necessary to survive, but that doesn't have to be your end. It can just be a bridge to what you're doing next. And I would say that me working in the research field was a bridge. So I gained what I could from and skills from that thing to still propel me towards what I ultimately wanted to do.
That's the bridge, there's level. When they say there's levels to this, that's what I hear,
Yeah.
taking the next step, and the next step, and the next step.
Mhm.
If it wasn't something you were doing in research and that helped you with becoming a doctor, there was still a mental and mindset part, an element in an emotional space that had to prepare you for your next step. So it's not always what you did, but it could be also what you built. It could be, as we talk about resilience in that whole picture, like you said, you were forced to do these things, but then you also found a way
Mhm.
to find another way to actually still become a PD. Talk about that, because your story is not traditional either about becoming a doctor, as
It is.
most people do. They go to school, you get your degree, you go to medical school, and you keep going from there. But let's talk about that. I would love to put that story about how you became and how you got, because I was there with you, and I don't want to ever drive to North Carolina to Chicago ever again in my life
Yes.
in a 97 Mazda Protege with all
In the snow with
in
winding
the
mountains
snow,
and roads and pitch back.
on the ice.
It's,
Yeah, all that. I did.
yeah.
We did that.
Yeah.
Supporter. I'm a supporter.
Thank you. I'm forever grateful, by the way. So I will give y'all the abbreviated version of that, but like Mark said, that it definitely was a long time coming with
Mhm.
my journey into becoming a physician. Is when I was in college, I am not first generation undergraduate, but first generation in a professional school. So I didn't
Mhm.
know really what it took to actually become a doctor. I said I was going to take the entrance exam, which is known as the MCAT, or just see
Mhm.
how it is. But in that time, that was not a smart decision, because in that time, when that entrance exam was on paper, the max time that you could take the MCAT was 3 times.
Mm.
And so when I took the MCAT for the first time, let's just say that my score was nowhere near it would take to qualify to be in medical school.
Wow.
And so I did not get in medical school right out of college. But because I'm
Mhm.
me, I persisted. I took, classes to try to do better. And I took the exam again, and my score was lower.
Mm.
And I did it again, and my score was the same at that lower level.
Wow.
So I have to work. I have to provide for myself at the time, and I continue to work. And God gave me many opportunities, and I was able to get into a pre-matriculation program, which is where Mark
Mhm.
drove me to in the north part of Chicago.
Mm.
And in that time, I had to make, I think it was an A in 2 courses, medical school courses, and they would give me basically entrance into medical school by me doing it.
Mm.
So I missed an A in neuroanatomy by 2 points.
Mm.
So I went to the professor who was teaching the class, and of course, you devastated. You literally uprooted your whole life to go to a different state for this
Mhm.
opportunity, and to miss it by 2 points. To say that I was crushed would be an understatement. But I
Mm.
don't know what I thought that she was going to do for me, because she couldn't give me
Right.
answers on the test. I missed 2 of them that got me out of that range. And she looked at me and she said, well, everybody's not meant to be a doctor.
Mm.
Maybe you should be a nurse.
She's
Now,
trying to make
there's
you
nothing
art.
wrong with nurses at all, but that's
Mm.
not what I desired to be. I'm here because of the nurses, especially in my program, helping guiding me in my education. So I don't think, but to have someone look at you in your face with no regard to your innermost potential and tell you
Mm.
you're not meant to be a doctor. That's essentially what she was saying. But what she didn't know was that put a fire under my belly to make
Ooh.
sure that I proved her wrong, not to prove her wrong, but to prove
Right.
myself right, and to prove what God had planted in my heart to do. I will leave y'all with the rest of the stuff, but let's just say I took the MCAT 3 more times. And you remember I told you couldn't take the
Right.
MCAT more than 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
But in that third time, they transitioned to online testing and took that role.
Mm.
Okay. And
Okay.
because I'm me, I have to feel like that I am doing something for the community. So while I was working in the Chicagoland area, I volunteered for a golf program for underserved teenagers. And I met a
Mm-hmm.
woman, and she said, well, my husband went to SIU. That's where I ended up going to medical school.
Right.
And they
Right.
have this post-bac program. And so I called, and they said, well, the deadline to is in 2 days. And
Mm.
it's like, but if you put your application in, we'll wait for your transcripts. I put it in. Long story short, I made it. In that program, I was able to kind of fill some of those deficiencies that I had with the baseline science and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And the MCAT one more time and scored phenomenally enough for me to get into medical school. Now,
Right.
if you count it, I took the MCAT 7 times.
Yeah.
And I probably shouldn't be
7
sitting
is a
where
lucky number.
And I mean, not that I want other people to imitate 7 times of taking the MCAT. I think you should
Mm.
identify your weaknesses earlier so you can fix those things to move forward. But that just happens to be my story. So that's
Mm-hmm.
why it took me 10 years from undergraduate before I started medical school at 31 years old.
Wow. Let me tell you what I'm writing down, and you got all F's. What I mean. I know you from Fayetteville. You were successful. AB honor roll, honors classes, cheerleading competition, just doing great things. You go to Bennett. Shout out to Bennett. I mean, I don't know, but you're doing great and all these things. I'm always saying you're a successful person. You've done these great things. And then when you put your mindset on something that God put your heart on, that this is your vision and this is your trial. Now here comes the F's. Fail, 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 fail again, fail again, fail again.
Mhm.
But what I hear on the other side, you kept trying, which means there was faith, faith,
Yeah,
faith. You
I
just
like that.
faith. You just kept believing. Faith was behind it. And this lady had to put. Sometimes God will position people, and then you just, the devil gets in other people's ears sometimes to try to make you fail. But that put a fire on you. That's another F, right? And you
Mhm.
kept adding more faith, fire, faith, fire, faith, fire, and you come out on the other side. When you graduate, I'm telling you, I shed a tear because I was like, I'm one of those people that was like, man, I think you should give up. Like I would have gave up. The average person would have gave up, but it takes a different person, a fiery person, somebody who has it built in them to really drive for the success that you were looking for, to get yourself to be the doctor that you said you were going to be. And you're that, and you're excelling in that. And you're now just being all the things that you drove towards in your life and pushing through all this adversity. I want to understand there is faith. But I'm pretty sure people are like, well, so how do you push through failure? Other than before that lady said that you pushed through it before that. What are you telling yourself? What tools, what tricks, what were you reading the Bible? What were you doing to push through each failure? Because I gave up on test, try 3. You know what? It ain't for me. 3 times a charm and it didn't work. I'm not a test taker too. I am not a test taker. So
Mhm.
yeah, talk about that.
Well, I think there's a combination of things, but I think what I would say when you pair the actual my mantra for myself and for my family is faith, family, service. And those are
Mm,
the things that are most important to me. And faith, not only in God, but in myself. And what does God tell you who you are? You're not a failure. You may
mm-hmm.
have failed or maybe not accomplished that thing, but you were not a failure, you
Right,
know? And one
right.
of the scriptures that I have always felt on is uh Proverbs 23:19, for the
Mm-hmm.
Lord knows I have a plan for you, not to fail you, but for you to have a hope in the future. So despite those tangible or environmental failures that I was experiencing,
Mm-hmm.
I have a hope in the future. And what helps me push through is that basically, if you're going a self-assessment, what are my strengths? What are my
Mm.
weaknesses? What do I have control over and what do I not? If I don't have
Right.
control over it, it's nothing I can do. But I have control over if I study effectively. I have
Mm-hmm.
control over if I seek out education to help fill my weaknesses. I
Mm-hmm.
have control over um, seeking out therapy or friends or support
Mm-hmm.
system if I'm feeling down so that
Right.
I can use that energy to move forward. I have control over keeping my body and my mind healthy for
Mm.
me to push through this time. And I have the ability not to succumb to my ego of where I think I should be or what other people think where I should be, and being able to push through those things to get to the other side. And
Mm.
I think a combination of those things I can maybe articulate better now, but in retrospect, that's where some of the things that helped me get through.
And long story short, you did the work. You put the work
Did
in
the work.
yourself. I dropped a note, a quick snippet from a podcast I did before not too long ago. And I tell folks to be intentional. Be intentional about you. Be intentional about yourself. And that comes with being ready, being prepared, doing the work, studying the craft, learning the game, contacting people, asking questions, and continue to be knee deep in whatever it is that you say you want to be
Yeah.
to get and succeed and to find open doors and more doors. This is the power of what your vision had, the resilience you go through there to find out what it takes, and then to come out on the other side and create the success that you want. Your faith was tied into all of that. This is everything that we push for Career Transformation Academy. And this story here just resonates that whatever it is that you want to do, put it out there. Don't just say, well, write the vision and make it plain. Put it out there. And then faith without works is dead. So attack.
And I
Attack.
wanted to say that you keep saying that you were one of the naysayers.
I
That is
was.
the surface of
Yeah.
a naysayer. But where that came from, care for me. You meant what was best for me. And I would like for people to know that there's sometimes the people you look at as if they're not supporting you, but they care for you. But you have to be able to discern between them just not wanting you to be hurt and what is best
Right.
for you to move forward. And it doesn't mean there's a lack of support. If anything, it's the opposite. It's just to be able to then articulate your vision to the people you know genuinely have your best
Right.
at their heart and at their core, to articulate, this is the bus I'm on. This is the train I'm moving with. And I understand that you are scared for me, but I'm
Scared.
okay. I'm safe. Get on, because we riding. And that's what we
Scared. It was scared, but it was also prayer that you got through it. You know, I would definitely genuinely say that I was like, Lord, the pain you're going through, you didn't get it. You failed. You didn't. We cried on the phone many a times just hearing your story. And then it was like, well, you got it next time. I gave that encouragement. You failed again. Cried again. And then about this is when I fell out the bus. I was like, let me off. I can't cry no more. I'm good. Just let me get out the bus. I mean, but that's like you said, that's amazing. I never really thought about it that way. Knowing that I've been in your life, family's been in your life, friends been in your life, we're supporting you. Well, we were tired. You weren't. It was us. We were just tired. We were supporting, but we were just tired because we knew the pain, we knew the frustration. And when you have that empathy for somebody and what they're going through, and you start feeling it, you're like, yeah, it couldn't be me. Can you get out of it? What can you do to do better? Because just, you know what? Come over here and work with me, and we can start a business.
People look at it and be like, why are you putting yourself through that? You literally can go get a nice job that can pay your bills more than the average American family. Why are you doing this to yourself?
Yeah. I'm gonna tag back into faith, because that, again, you saw how I was talking about how I was defeated. You had to rebuild your faith every time. What do you do to rebuild yourself back up? Because I done put the fire out already. I'm done. How do you rebuild that?
I think that, as we kind of alluded to before, is when we are down in those lost phases, give yourself time. You don't have to stay down there, but it's okay to be there for a second. But then I will also say that that is a time for you to really do a deep dive into what is your end goal, what is your vision in your life, what do you, at the end of the day, time is going to keep going. So you can look at yourself being, well, I'm too old to do this now. I'm too old to go to nursing school. I'm too old to get this new certification. But in 2 years, you're going to be 2 years older, and you could use that 2 years to get that certification.
Exactly.
And then you will be in a different place, right? So what is that actual vision and goal that you have? What type of life vision do you have for yourself? And then, again, go back to that self-assessment. What am I missing that is not allowing me to get there? So give your time to grieve. What am I missing to get there? And that can be therapy, because, in our community, a lot of times we try not to seek that out.
Right.
Or not as much now, but, still education. There may be some characteristics about yourself that have an opportunity to improve, and you have to be real with yourself about that. What quote unquote toxic traits do you have, or weak traits that you have that you need to develop? And use that rebuilding time to actually be honest with yourself and get the skills necessary to move to the next step. And although I hate this analogy, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. It's going to be overnight, and you're going to get there. I pray that your journey is not 10 years long like mine, but recognize that it does take time.
One bite at a time. That's the best way to do it. Yeah. Start with the toes.
Don't come for me. I don't advocate harming animals in any way.
I'm just saying, you got to go through the tough parts, because the easy parts is easy for a reason, right? So, I mean, wow.
No, but if you're so down that you just need a win, do something easy.
Agree. Do something that will help you get your spirits back up, especially if you can. I do that. One of the things I do when I'm trying to study for something or learn something is I will try to test my knowledge on what it is. And then what I am weak at, I can document. I don't know this, but I do know these things. I'm very strong at these things. Now I know how to attack this, but I want to also sharpen this, because now this is easy. I want this to be automatic, and now I can put the pressure on the weak sections. I can put the pressure on the things I don't know and build up a better strategy to actually learning something. I think that's important in everything in life and what you want to do. I think that helps with building yourself in a career, help with building, getting yourself to the next level. It goes back to everything we say about networking and just learning people. But yeah, I'm going to get back to you. I'm telling you, I was a part of her story and her journeys. To me, it's amazing to have you on here. I want to tie some things back. I mean, I know high school, we had a great time at E. Smith. E. Smith is a beautiful national Black alumni, one of the largest Black alumni ever. I'm giving a shout out to the Golden Boot. Before they moved it, 1800 Seabrook, that's where we came from. It had a rich tradition of just, I want to say, pride, some of the biggest pride ever. Who are some of your inspirations or people that you can remember, whether it was our classmates or even teachers and professors, because you were in the National Honor Society, you were involved in a lot of programs. And to this day, that resonates to what you do. You're involved in a lot of things today. So who were some of the things and programs and things that you would say attributed to some of your success, successful ideas?
I would say from high school, like you just kind of outlined, we were, I say, a unicorn of a high school. When my husband went back for our 10-year anniversary, he was like, is this a college? Like, what is
Right.
He had never seen anything like it. So to be a part of such a rich history of an institution, a school that builds that pride into us, I think is amazing. I would say also that we had our core group of people, our four, and then plus our two members, I say.
We were the Black 90210.
Right. I would say that taught me about a support system of friendship, that we all were very different in our interests and our skills and what we were involved in school, but we still were a core unit. and we
Mm-hmm.
supported one another. And I think that's a life lesson, that everyone doesn't have to be exactly like you to
Mm-hmm.
actually be in your circle.
Right.
So I would say that helped me. I think specific, I think that I would say, I'll be honest. Do you remember Miss Henry? I think she passed
Mm-hmm.
away,
Yep.
and everybody didn't want to be in her class,
She
but
was
it was
tough.
because she rose the standard, and she did
Mm-hmm.
not allow you to do mediocre work.
Mm.
He wanted you to be the best that you could be. And I would also say Mr. McAllister, he recently
Yeah.
passed principal. Not that he specifically spoke to me, but I felt like that he was like that innate, like, I'm proud of you, April. Like, you're
Right.
doing good things. So to have some people to see your potential, and I think
Mm-hmm.
that started in our high school.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would say just having spirit in things, like we loved our sports. We actually
Yeah.
participated in stuff. We actually enjoyed high school.
Right.
Like, in a lot
Right.
of people can't say that.
You're right. I don't care if you were quiet. You did something that you were a part of something, and you felt it. You couldn't just hang back in the back. Even when I go through the yearbook, I remember everybody. I remember everybody. I may not have talked to them, but I remember every single person in our class that was there. I think we were one of the one units that I think we gelled together well, the
And I
entire
would say
class.
we are the trailblazers. We were the
Mm-hmm.
first to go on a school trip. We went to Disney World, you remember, in several
Yep.
years. We brought gifts for the
I ain't
school.
going that trip with y'all nasty people. I don't go. I was a
Well,
righteous,
whatever.
upstanding citizen. Y'all, I heard about that trip. Nasty.
Well,
Doing
I won't
bad.
participate in those things. I'm a very starchy person, unfortunately. But you weren't conscious of our group. But
Yes, you were. You were a motherly figure.
yeah, but I think that our generation, class in '98, we're just built well.
Yeah,
We're built well.
we were. That was one of the things I would say, that all of us together collectively, there was no beefs. It was kids from Fort Bragg, it was people from the Merc, it was people from,
Very diverse.
name every neighborhood on the east side of Fayetteville.
Mhm.
We all were cool. Everybody had cars. Everybody was going to the same stuff. We all got along, and we rocked. We rocked with each other. It was an amazing class. I shout out to '98. Better than all the no. We had a great. I think all the other classes before us showed us the way.
Yeah.
The classes behind us looked up to it. We're legends to some folks that I'm like, me? What? It's a beautiful thing. Just coming from E. Smith and then looking at the different people that are across the different, like you said, when you go to an E. Smith alumni, it's like, oh, that's such and such right there. We're talking about people just went to high school, and that's this person and that's that person. And
Mm-hmm.
it's a contest on who got the best T-shirts and
Right.
who got the best pride, which class rep, who got the best ribs.
Right.
Like, it's just we already know we got the best band. We're going to try to do the best in sports across the world. Everybody wanted to go to the school. It was just a sight to be a part of. And I think that started the pride, even to the point when I think about myself. I went to University of Richmond. I could not let go of E. Smith. I was bringing all the same noise and thunder and joy and happiness and pride to where we changed some of the sideline things that we did. Like, I got there, they didn't cheer on us. No, we finna hit these pads to do something. We're going to start. When we started chants on the sideline,
Right.
it's a chant that they still say to this day. They say, move them chains at Richmond. I started that. Me and Deshaun Garter started that in 1998, 99. And they still say it to this day. Because,
awesome.
no, we're going to make noise. We're going to do something. This is what I did in high school. I don't care what school we're going to. I'm bringing E. Smith with me.
Yeah.
That's the power of E. Smith.
To unite, not just necessarily bringing E. Smith, but my son started preschool today, and I thought I was going to have a connection, but he did excellent. And one of the things is that he is such a happy, kind, passionate 2-year-old, right?
Wow.
And I don't want school or anything to take that away, right? But I want him to, what Mark described, and him being a change maker, I want him to change the environment. I want the environment to change him. And that's what you did when you went to University of Richmond. You brought that because you brought to something that they needed, and they
Right.
still do
Right.
today.
It is amazing. It's amazing. That's a good man. Let me write that down because at the end of the day, you
I
have a
sound like your
purpose.
son coming up the stairs.
Oh, it don't matter. Tell Xavier to come on. I'm sorry, not Xavier. Xavier. He is X-Man. Anyway, value is important because sometimes we don't see it when we're in it. We don't know we're providing it. And when you look back on what you've done and how you've served and how you've given back, you've given so much, value to communities, to families, to people, to, I coached Little League football for 7 years. And I look back at it during the time, didn't see it. Looking back on it, I'm just proud to see these young men grow and be successful. To look back and thank me for the things we've done and thank all our coaching staffs for what we've done. So what would you say you've given your most? What would you say your value has been left the most? I mean, with your story and everything, you're giving value on this podcast right now, but what would you say you've given the most value to people that you've poured back into?
That's hard. Because it's hard to talk about yourself in that way,
Mm-hmm.
I would say my story, as you said, I try to tell that story when I can with trainees and medical students and high school students. I actually give a lecture on that of resiliency to a program that we have at our hospital every summer. I think, as Mark kind of alluded to, I was very involved in student council in high school as well as in college, and I feel like that I added value in those areas for making groundbreaking strides, at least for that time of in college, bringing the most money in as a student capital campaign through my leadership, and just bringing more entertainment and stuff to my little girl, my wonderful all-girl institution. I would say right now I'm walking into bringing value and bringing to the forefront the healthcare and the health inequities that are among youth that are in juvenile detention centers or in carceral settings. And I'm hoping, because this is a very novel area of research, that my research and my advocacy will bring their needs and their hope to the forefront, to not just physicians and researchers, but to our community at large, especially since it disproportionately affects young African American men and Hispanic men or boys as their children. And I'm hoping that by me highlighting these things that I could help change the tide in policy when it comes to that. So I'm hoping the work that I'm doing now will make an impact in the community from that. And just on a personal level, I feel like modeling success, confidence, humbleness, gratefulness for my child, that I would be a role model for him to be his best self,
Right.
his authentic self, not to be like me, but to have an opportunity and a pathway to really walk into this being.
I want to go. You have a 2-year-old.
Yeah.
I ain't going to tell everybody how old you are, but me and you both started late.
Yeah.
Your goddaughter's going to be 8 tomorrow.
Yeah. Wait a minute. Yeah,
No,
tomorrow's
Wednesday.
Thursday.
Wednesday.
Yeah.
So talk about mommyhood. Like you're a mother. I know this is something that, you did all this work, became a doctor, found the love of your life. Nick, shout out to Nick.
Whoop, whoop.
And here it is. You're starting a life, whereas traditionally people say, oh man, go ahead and get married when you're in your 20s, but you still found success. That's the thing. You still got into what everybody is still looking for. Some folks are looking for it to this day, even after getting, becoming a doctor. But let's talk about mommyhood. How has that been for you? What are the highlights and the joys and the moments that you're getting from raising this 2-year-old kid?
I loved it. And I am so grateful to God for this opportunity. And as you kind of talked about, we both started late. And I would say, especially to my young entrepreneurs and professional women out there, I would say I wasted a lot of times in my 20s wishing
Mm,
that I had this instead of enjoying the phase of life that I was in,
mm,
trying to discover who I truly was and what I enjoyed, and being able to, although I bring value to my relationship, bringing that part of me there. So I would
mm-hmm.
say your time will come, but enjoy where you are
Right.
and really do those things that are in your heart to do. Travel, date
Mm.
as much as you can so you can see what type of person you want, right?
But don't yeah, be careful.
Yeah, I said date,
Yeah. Date. You
not
say throw it back.
right. Date. And that's, and which led me to meeting like Mark said, the love of myself in my life, someone that is
Mm-hmm.
very supportive of my actual goals and ambitions. My pastor from college used to always say you should marry a man, and I know this is a little bit patriarchal, but marry a man
Mm-hmm.
whose vision is large enough than yours, so that his vision will not stifle yours.
Mm.
And I can say that for the most part, because my husband is very content. He does not need all the glam. He fits that, I need.
Did the pastor say anything about patience for
Yeah,
you, just particular for you? Because Nick
got
has all the
patience.
patience in the world for you. Trust me. You know how to get on somebody's nerves. I ain't gonna.
That's right. And has patience for me.
He has
knows me
all the
very
patience. Lord bless you, Nick. Good job.
well.
Good job. You found you a good
But
one.
it led me to have this wonderful human being. Like,
Mm-hmm.
he's like, I don't know what I thought motherhood would be like or what type of child I would have.
Mm-hmm.
But like, if this is how it is, I am so glad that I waited for this
Right.
instead of rushing
Right.
something else. You know,
Right.
I
That's
think it's hard sometimes to what they say balance life, but what I've learned that I don't believe in a work-life balance. I believe in intentional life. So intentionally, when I'm at work, I'm at work,
right.
and when I'm with my family, I'm with my family, and I'm not perfect at that all the time, but that's my goal, is to be
Right.
intentional about the time that I have with my son and my husband and my family and friends. So
That's a good way of putting it. Instead of work-life balance, just being intentional about balance.
yeah,
I'm at work. I'm at work.
yeah,
I'm
because you
home. I'm
can't be
taking off.
to all people all the time, and sometimes you have to give yourself grace that your 100% today
Mm,
may just be getting out of bed and taking a shower, but your
facts.
100% tomorrow may be taking 5 play dates with your child, but you have to give yourself grace. So be intentional
Right.
and be your best 100%, whatever that is for that day.
Right. Right. Wow. You gotta be transparent with yourself too. That I think we're not honest with ourselves, just trying to get some of these goals, but being honest in the moment and recognizing that that's important. I'm digging through because we've just soundly hit almost every 14 questions, and I didn't even have to ask them because we did it. We definitely did it. But like I said, I've been close to you, and I want to ask this question because I've been close to you since 5th grade. Again, I used to pick on April all the time. Me, yes, I was that guy. I picked on her to end up being a best friend and being around her mama. Her mama is a special character. Shout out to Mamie Bats. She probably gonna see this. What did y'all? I mean, your mother was tough.
Yes.
I would say she was tough. She loved me to death. She was tough on you. What would you say those values did? And I guess we can explain what we mean by tough. We don't mean she was strict because she wanted to watch over you and make sure you were safe. But she did instill some things, I think, that added value. So let's talk about that. We can talk about that from a space of tough mothers, tough love that you get from Black mothers.
Well, let me say, like I said, like even though I technically was in a single parent home, I had both of my parents, but my mother was a civilian and worked for the military for human resources. Prior to that, my mom was, I think, the first female in her unit when she was an active military personnel.
Mm-hmm.
My mother as a civilian in her workspace, advocated for more women and minorities to actually be promoted in positions that they previously did not have. And the weird
Wow.
thing about this, I didn't know this about my mom until I became an adult, of the type of trailblazer she was
Wow.
for that. But I think what you're asking me is her being tough on me. How did I become I am? I think that she modeled those behaviors in our
Mm-hmm.
without telling me she was doing those things. And at the
And this is the first time I'm hearing it. Let me go give Mamie a hug.
right. So like my mom, if you ever met her, she meets no stranger. Most people love her, but Lord have mercy, she is a character. She plays, talk about she's Medea, but that's the type of person that my mom is. But you
That's
wouldn't
exactly
know
right.
sometimes that she is, the strides that she made in her own career as
Mm-hmm.
a single mom, as a female trying to run a household with two daughters.
Right.
And I would say that those things about just being consistent,
Mm-hmm.
clean that house every day during the summer.
Every
I
day.
remember
Lord
one
have
of my
mercy.
friends saying, y'all vacuum every day? I was like, yeah. Well,
Every day.
into the house. And, I think she did her best to make sure that we had a
Mm-hmm.
thriving household. And my sister and I have often said that we may not have the traditional family of what
Mm-hmm.
society says that we should have, but we did not lack love and we did
Right.
not lack support. And that's
Definitely.
what I would say my mom and my dad brought to our family.
Definitely. Your mother loved you to death. She loved us. She let us come in the house.
Yeah.
And we had to build trust. I have no idea how we got there. I know what it was. It was the
That's
one time we went to the
both
movies.
places with Mark and Jason, but only because my
Yeah.
mom trusted them. I couldn't go with anyone else.
Right. Right. I talked to that with Demetria. We had to figure out who was going where. And
Yeah.
if we were going to the same place, then the thumbs was up. Other than that, nah, if you wasn't going, she ain't going. And you ain't going, they ain't going.
Yeah.
That's what we had. We called ourselves. I wore my hat just like this too back in the day too. I need a haircut. That's why I ain't got it. But the click, I'm gonna post that picture on this thing. I
Oh,
still got that picture.
I do too.
Joy, me, you, Joy, Jason, all of us just clicked up. And something that's different is people ask me today, like, do you have any sisters? I'm like, no, but I got 4. I'm like, what does that mean? I said, I have 4 platonic sisters.
Mhm.
Are they really your sisters? I'm like, they can go to my mama's house right now and spend the night, and I don't have to be there. That's family. They're gonna be at my wedding. They're gonna be at my funeral. They're gonna be at my bar mitzvah. They're gonna be in my life. So you can't change anything about that. But it was different. I think in Fayetteville, we had those relationships, and they were normal to us. There was no, I'm trying to holler at her for a little. None of that. We were just cool like that. We would have clicked.
Yeah.
Still tight. Still tight. This is crazy. Now we got kids grown.
Yeah. Life be life,
Wow.
but
Life be life.
yeah.
So this is good.
Yeah.
So, wow, I think we almost hit an hour, but we can keep going. Other than that, but I want to ask this question to you. We'll finish off with this one because I know. Oh, he's in the room?
No.
Oh, I thought he was in the room. I had to say, put him on the screen. But the question I like to ask is, what advice would you give to a young lady or a man who is aspiring, young men or young women who are aspiring to be doctors, who to be in the profession to really serve their purpose in that field? I think all doctors are serving a purpose because you are saving lives, and that's important. That's a talent. That's a gift. That is ordained. That's a purpose. What would you give to folks who want to be in that field and striving to be that?
The first thing, honestly, that popped in my head, I have some other things, but the first thing that popped in my head is you are enough. You don't have to be anyone else but yourself. Show up as your authentic self, with your skill set. You strengthen the weaknesses that you have, and you seek it out because we need you, especially for those who are underrepresented minorities. There's only 6% of Black physicians in the nation, but we're 13% of the population, and there's predicted shortage of physicians in the future. So there is a avenue and a need for you. One,
Right.
you are enough. and you have what it takes to obtain the skills required to do this, if this is so what you desire.
Right.
With that, be true to yourself and honest with yourself with the areas that you need support in.
Mm.
Get a mentor with someone that is in the field or field adjacent in the field of pediatrics, or any doctor. Maybe you can shadow, have a conversation with them. What are the skills needed? What are they looking for?
Mm-hmm.
If you're at the level of college, then I would say seek out those who are in what we call GME, graduate medical education, that
Mm-hmm.
of medical schools, to see what does my CV or what does my resume look like.
Mm-hmm.
If you know you want to do that as a freshman, do that as a freshman, because then you have 3
Yeah.
years to build that, so that your resume at least can be on par, and you also have time to obtain the skills that you needed to be a physician. Do
Right.
not take, unfortunately, these standardized tests lightly. If you need support outside of your regular studying, meaning like courses that are offered, seek them out. If you don't have the money, ask cousin Larry to help you out, or apply for scholarships that will help you obtain that. There are many
Right.
organizations in your communities that sometimes sponsor you for you to get that support. And keep trying. Don't try in a mode of insanity, doing the same things, expecting different results. But each time, if you are not successful, what are those areas that you need to change in order to make your application a stronger application, and that you will be a notable applicant for whatever schools that
Mm-hmm.
you're applying to? And then I would say, don't forget about yourself. Make sure that you are taking care of your emotional health, your mental
Mm-hmm.
health, and your physical health, because this is a long road. Who wants to
Right.
sign up to be in school for 10 years?
10
You know,
years.
just to do this.
Right.
But the end is well worth it.
Yeah.
The end is well worth it, because you can help people, like Mark said. You make an impact. You help to save lives. You have help
Mm-hmm.
to change the trajectory of people's life. You also have a more steady income, because the field of health will always be there,
Right.
and you're needed. You're needed.
Yeah.
And even if you're a underrepresented person that wants to go in there, you still find the same advice. But I would say, open up to where you work, to not just from your community, but for all communities, so you can help to dissolve some of the health disparities that we have in the community.
So yeah, everything you gave adds to the 10 years, but it also helps people understand that roadmap. You should make a roadmap and sell it, because it's important.
Yeah.
It's
And I'm sure
important.
it's some other things in there, but that's kind of like the basics. At
Right.
the end of the day, you're needed and you are enough.
Yeah. You're needed and you're enough. The work has to be done. Somebody's got to do it, and that's what you're going to do. Then we say, just do it. Just get in there and do it. That's good. This is beautiful. April, thank you so much
Thank
for
you, Mark,
coming
for
on.
giving
I
me
know
this opportunity and inviting me on your podcast.
this is
Very proud.
awesome. And thank you. This is, we talk about, I call it the sound of kings and queens, because there's so many beautiful people from our hometown. Then again, there's so much more people I want to come on. I can't get in contact with them, or they don't have the time. But at the same time, people I do know, we're just resonating. Everybody's speaking the same language. Most people are from East Smith, but you're from Fayetteville, and we represent a large sounding voice of just successful, knowledgeable people who came from the bottom and coming all the way up to the top and found their path. So this is important. If people want to get in contact with you, April, they want to understand, pick your brain, ask you some more detailed questions, how can they get in contact with you?
Well, my social media, on both Facebook and Instagram, I'm more frequently on Instagram, is Dr. April D. McNeill. And also, you can always email me at aprilmcneil2016@gmail.com.
There you have it, folks. Get in contact with her, learn something, especially if you want to be a doctor, or I don't know, you want to be a good
healthcare
mother.
field in general, just sit there
Healthcare field.
research. If you want to help the detention and carceral health population need you to.
That's amazing. That's good. And folks, if you want to continue to see great podcasts like this, you want to grow and learn some things, I'm giving out tips, I'm giving out strategies, I'm just throwing different nuggets out there, basically on the surface, but it's still good information for you to learn. We are on all platforms. So I'm on Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn. I mean, you name it. We're out there at careertransformationacademy.com. On TikTok, we are The Blueprint by CTA. And if you really want to take a deep dive into scaling yourself to a better career, getting that career fulfillment, taking that next leap, we're here to help you. You can't do it alone. We're here to help you. You can go to www.careertransformationacademy.com, book a session. We'll do a free career consultation with you. Let's understand what your goals are. And if you don't have any goals, that's okay. We're going to help you build those goals and help you land a better job and get a job that you want to do, have career fulfillment. And let's change your life. Let's get you to the right place. This is what this stuff is about, to show you that this the pathways that a lot of folks go through. Your pathway is no different than anybody else's, because somebody else has been there, done that, and we can show you how to do it. So thank you, April. I appreciate you. I love you. Tell Nick, give Xavier a hug, body slam. You got to body slam because he's a boy. You got to body slam. They love that stuff.
Yeah.
But y'all have a great evening. I appreciate you again for coming on the show.
Thank you
That's
again
it.
for the opportunity.
This is awesome. Peace, everybody.
Official.